Today I'm going to review A Red and Pleasant Land by Zach S., also known as Zach Smith or Zach Sabbath. Now, the name Lamentations of the Flame Princess really was a turnoff for me. I avoided this company, but just because of that name, I was afraid that their products would be stuff like this. Let's read the back blurb. A terrible Red King wars with an awful queen, and together they battle into a rigid, wrong world. And this book has everything you need to run it. So, what is this? Basically, this is Alice in Wonderland with vampires. And so, this is a table of contents. It's got art. It's a multi-layered world. There's some pretty good art about in a place that is an alternate dimension through the looking glass called Voivodia. So, mirrors are a location to get there. You shouldn't really run native characters until you've been running it for a while, though. There's a constant war going on between the Red Queen, the Red King, the White King, the Pale King. There's several different factions and duels. Lots of interesting rules about how to do things in Wonderland. And there's a new class called the Alice, also known as the Alistair, depending on what gender they are. And it's a variation of specialist or thief who can do random things if they're exasperated. What size die they roll depends on what level they are. The higher level they are, the more sides their die can have. And when they level up, they gain a random power. And one of these powers might be that they improve their skills. But they have other things they could get too. It's the first time I encountered a class like this, and it seemed pretty interesting. This Beasts and People, it goes into the four factions, which is the House of Lord Vortigen, the Red King, Elizabeth Bathescape, the Heart Queen, the Pale King and his Mad Hatter, or the Colorless Queen of Lydia, the Half-Drowned Isle. So, what follows is a long bunch of interesting monsters with great pictures. It's just there are too many to remember, but I was prepared to run this. A lot. The Hatter. Here's the Heart Queen. The Jabberwock. The Little Crocodile. The March Hare. There's card people like the Order of Clubs or the Order of Diamonds. The Order of Spades. The Pale King, who's a vampire. The Pale Bishops. The Pale Knights. The Pale Pawns. Let's go through this, because there's a lot of that. Okay, then after that, there are a few locations, like the Looking Glass Palace, which has a really interesting map, but because the map is three-dimensional, it'd be really hard to lay this out on a computer screen, like if you're playing this on Roll20, which I was prepared to do. Yeah, so some more There's some more sample locations like the Frozen Battle. There's an example of a cityscape, multi-layered. And there's some optional rules you can use. Characters with rank, duels, skirmishes, sidestep, and some really good tables and resources, random animals that fit this world, anomanites, backgrounds for characters who are native, castle inhabitants, dueling entries, the dueling code. There's some encounters, fees and taxes demanded by members of the Pale House, growing and shrinking sizes, an intercepted communique, what is it? There's an I search the body chart. You might find a boar's tusk knife or a draft of a writ of decapitation from the Heart Queen. Here's some instant locations. Here's a drop chart for an instant forest location. You just drop a die and you get a location. There's also one for a garden. So, yeah, if you get the PDF and print these out, then these are very handy. It's not so handy here in the middle of the book, though. Some more instant locations, objects, complexities of interior, relationships between PCs. What is the thing they just encountered doing? So there's a list of that. And there's some art. And it even comes with this thing, wherein he recommends some reading for this. Not just himself, but other things that he thinks are interesting. So, I was all ready to run this when Zach had an internet controversy where his ex-wife outed him as being a really bad mate, and the accusations against him were so horrendous that my players decided they just didn't want to run this. They didn't want to play this, which was a great shame, but kind of relieved too because there's just too much detail. I thought it was fun to read, kind of like the second edition D&D books. It was fun to read, but it looks like a bear to run because there's so many unique monsters to keep track of. But it won all kinds of awards, and now it's gone because Lamentations of the Flame Princess cut ties with Zach, and so once these were all sold, they're gone forever. You can get the PDF, but as you see, there's lots of colors and stuff to print out there.